Hello, everyone. Welcome to Avaiya's Healthy Aging Curriculum. I am Ande Anderson. My partner, Ike Allen, and I are teachers, mentors, and the co-owners of Avaiya University. Avaiya is the creator of over 1,000 books, films, courses, teachings, and other supportive resources. Thank you so much for being here. Our fellow teacher, Lisa Jackson, is here today to talk with you about cardiovascular disease from a functional medicine perspective. She's going to be talking about a personal journey to health. Lisa is the founder of Carpe Diem Wellness. She is certified in functional medicine, functional diagnostic nutrition, and she's also a certified health coach. She is also a registered yoga teacher and retired registered nurse. Lisa's goal is to inspire, educate, and empower optimal health regardless of age or diagnosis. And she understands how the body has the innate ability to heal from within when eliminating hidden internal and external stressors. Thank you so much for being here with us, Lisa.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be part of your Avaiya University and your summit and all the wonderful things that you're doing.
Yeah, I'm so excited to dive into this with you. And I'm so glad you're talking about cardiovascular disease because that is such a major issue in our society today. So I'm so excited to hear what you have to say and hear your journey. So would you start us off by sharing a little bit about your story? I know in your book you wrote about it, and like what went on in your story to inspire you to do the work you do today?
Thanks for asking. And actually, the book I wrote was not about my journey specifically. Okay. It was about my daughter's journey when she was diagnosed, my 28-year-old, with cancer. And as a mother and a parent, the lessons learned, and I was just getting into integrative nutrition at that point. And through that, I was able to, with my daughter's doing her integrative cancer program, I actually healed my own autoimmune disease that I'd had for decades. I had worn bifocals for decades. I had readers in every room of the house because I couldn't see to read. I couldn't see to drive. And I wore contacts, bifocal contacts 24/7, slept in them, did all the things you're not supposed to do. And after about 6 or 9 months, radically changing my diet and my contacts were blurry, I figured it was just time for a new prescription. Went to the eye doctor and he said, your eyes have improved by over 50%, which is why I couldn't see out of my contacts anymore. He goes, I don't know what you're doing, but keep on doing it. You don't need that anymore. And as a conventionally trained registered nurse, who knew that you could reverse? You could improve your eyesight so dramatically. You could reverse autoimmune disease. For decades, 2 decades, I'd had an autoimmune disease, vitiligo, and my skin was starting to repopulate. And of course, my daughter got a clean PET scan. So radical change.
Wow.
And
that's amazing. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. So, okay, so wow, and what an interesting and amazing way that you were able to, actually reverse that and going through your daughter's journey. And is your daughter okay today?
She is. She's been deemed cured because it's been more than 6 years for her cancer. She did relapse and it did come back again, and we had another journey, and I wrote about that in the book too. Chronic disease, cancer is a chronic disease, and NIH has a whole handout study on that it's preventable, and if it's preventable, it's also reversible with diet and lifestyle. And I'm a firm believer that if you want radical remission, you have to have an integrative approach, and you have to change some of the stressors that created the environment for cancer to thrive in the first place. You're not just caught, you don't catch it. It's not genetics can play a part, but you're not bound by your genes. So that has been the motivation to fuel my passion into functional medicine and integrative medicine. And in the process, as I said, it's a journey. I put together a few slides here. Whoops. A few slides to kind of make my point.
Yeah.
And there's my book. But one of the business I had with my husband was we took plastic out of the landfill and made infrastructure. So we built actually the world's first bridge out of recycled plastics,
Wow.
railroad bridge. And so the lesson learned is we have to rethink everything. And the things that we thought are set in stone are not. And so I'm asking the listeners to really have an open mind here and to know and believe that we do have the innate ability to heal from within if we can remove our internal hidden stressors and our external stressors. And sometimes if you're sitting on 5 tacks, you remove 1 or 2 tacks, you're still sitting on 3 tacks. Mm-hmm. So, you know, in this process, in this journey, we've had to learn to remove all attacks. And in my, you know, daughter's case, that was true. And in my personal journey that we'll talk about today, that's true also. So even though, you know, I look good on this picture and look pretty good for being 60 years old, you can't tell a book by its cover, right? So I was so passionate about this business. I actually wanted to do a documentary on it, on my daughter's, and, you know, she's a private person. I couldn't believe that we could get such dramatic results from diet and lifestyle change. Who knew that it had such a big piece that we could have these things? So I was on a mission, and I was working 30 hours a week for a oncology hematology group, trying as executive director to bring in an integrative wellness program. I was burning the candle at both ends. My twin sister's husband was diagnosed with kidney cancer, was dying of cancer. I had private patients of my own, clients, and then I was studying to get my certification in functional medicine and functional diagnostic nutrition. I was burning the candle at both ends. Mm-hmm. And on my brother-in-law's deathbed, he was constantly measuring his blood pressure, and I took my blood pressure and said, holy cow, is this thing right? So I took it to the fire station up the street to say, can you make sure my blood pressure cuff is accurate? And it was even higher than this. It was, I don't remember, 230 over 150. It was crazy. It was stroke high. They put me in the ambulance and took me to the ER and said, this is not good for my business. Right. I'm the health coach. I'm not supposed to. I should know what to do. But that's why cardiovascular disease is the number 1 killer. It is hidden stressors. You can't tell your blood pressure is this freaky high. Right. And I had reflux and mental emotional stress. You know, I was having trouble remembering things. You walk in a room, you forget, you know, classic symptoms of stress, brain fog. By the 3rd day working at the clinic, where we saw 60 patients a day, I always had a migraine. You know, all these symptoms of dis-ease in the body. And I had this, you know, fungus on my toenails that just wouldn't go away. Well, this is signs of simmering infections. So I went to an old friend of mine, one of the top cardiologists, conventionally trained cardiologists in the region, great guy. And I came, you know, I knew enough to ask questions, the right questions. What's the root cause? Why am I having this hypertension? You know, I do yoga. I lost my excess weight. I'm eating really well. Why would I have cardiovascular disease? Is it mental emotional stress? Is it heavy metal toxicity? Is it gut dysbiosis? Is it food sensitivities? Is it hormone imbalance, thyroid, adrenal fatigue? Am I getting the right nutrition for my heart? Is it malabsorption, maldigestion? Do I have clogged detox pathways? I already knew I had the genetics, SNPs, polymorphisms that are not, that I need extra support for detoxification. You know, I wanted my cardiologist to partner with me in a functional medicine approach to solve these issues. But guess what he said?
What?
Face it, Lisa. Everyone will have to be on blood pressure medication when they get older.
Oh, no.
So that got my passion,
yep.
my blood up. And so I really dug into my own journey, you know, heal or heal thyself. We cannot be giving so much to everybody else and ignoring our own health. This is very common with healthcare professionals. We have a hard time prioritizing ourselves. And it turns out, yes, I had every one of these things that could be identified and tested in functional medicine. And this is the problem with conventional medicine. And I love conventional medicine. It is life-saving. This is not a us versus them discussion. In fact, I did that for a while. I was going to heal healthcare. I was fighting the fight, working for the conventional oncology group. I was going to educate everybody and get everybody on my side to talk about nutrition and functional medicine. But this is the, so medicine is fantastic for acute care. If you have a broken bone, if you're having that heart attack, you want to go to the ER, like I did. Twice I ended up in the ER. You want to get it taken care of. You don't want to ignore it. But the conventional approach looks at an elephant, and had I just gone down the conventional approach only, I would have seen a gastroenterologist. I would have had an endocrinologist for my hormones. I would have had, for my thyroid, I would have had a gynecologist for my hormones. I would have gone to a psychiatrist for my mental emotional. Had a cardiologist. Who am I missing?
Somebody.
The dermatologist, which I'd been to for years for my autoimmune vitiligo. And I would have been on 7 different treatments and 7 different medications to mask the symptoms. And I would have been on blood pressure medication for life. And I was on the beta blocker. I was on the ACE inhibitor. And at one time in my life, in my 30s, I was on statins. I mean, I've had a high cholesterol my entire life.
Got it.
So a lot of people ask me, what's functional medicine?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for those watching right now who don't know what that is, what is this? What is the thing?
So it's science-based. It's not woo-woo. It's based on the N of 1, biochemical individuality, that we're all different. We're trained in healthcare for here's the diagnosis and here's the pill. For every ill, there's a pill for the symptom. We are not trained to look at everything as a whole, the interconnectedness of the human body. And it's more of a web-like, it's a functional medicine practitioners do puzzle piecing. You may have 5 or 6 things going on, as I did. And if we only remove 1 or 2, you've still got the other 3 causing inflammation. So it is looking at you as a whole, and it's looking for the clinical imbalances or the subclinical imbalances. And this is true for the functional medicine testing. We're testing things that the conventional medicine is not testing for, and so therefore it goes undiagnosed or untreated. And we are preserving the organs. If you have a gallbladder attack, we're not taking the gallbladder out. We're saying, why are you having a gallbladder attack? And do you have maldigestion? I had one client who was a doctor of dentistry who gained 60 pounds the year after she had her gallbladder out. And it wasn't until we sat down and started looking at the health history that I said, you've gained 60 pounds in the last year, and that's when you had your gallbladder out? And she had not even put the 2 and 2 together.
Wow.
That yes, we got rid of the symptom. I don't have gallbladder attacks anymore, but she's not digesting her fats in her food, and she put on 60 pounds.
Right. Oh.
So this is the difference. And this is just right from the American Association of Functional Medicine's page. And then I love this quote. And my brother-in-law saw this on one of my blog posts. And he says, oh, that's not true. We're not ranked 37th in the world. Yeah, the World Health Organization does rank us. We are the lowest health outcomes of anyone in the world, of all the developing nations.
Yeah, the bankruptcy thing is crazy too, right? Up to 90% of bankruptcies due to unpaid medical bills. That's crazy.
And this has happened to members of my family. So I am intimately aware of this. And 1 out of 2 Americans didn't die of heart disease. Had I not treated my own, I could easily have be one of those statistics very easily. And, like a lot of famous people who look and are doing the right things and then suddenly drop dead. Right. Yeah, 1 out of 3 didn't die of cancer. That's so near and dear to my heart. We have so much cancer in our family that I'm really on a mission to change this trajectory. And of course, 1 out of 6 didn't die of diabetes. Diabetes is often the precursor to all of this. Right. And healthcare it's not sustainable financially. We cannot keep this type of healthcare system and where we are not looking at prevention and root cause analysis. It's not sustainable.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting in the next, right? God, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years in the world of the, right, baby boomers and getting older and all that kind of stuff and what's going to happen, right? I think wasn't there a statistic, this was several years ago, but it was, right, like the generation of children were going to live shorter lives than their parents based on obesity, diabetes, like all of these early onset diseases and stuff that's happening now.
Yeah, that was a statistic that just hit me right in the heart. That my children are the first generation that are expected not to outlive myself. And as a mother of 4 and 2 grandchildren, this is not acceptable. Yeah. We have got to change this. We have to learn, and we have to see there is a better way, for sure. So, we look at the imbalances. And we do functional medicine testing. And I like to use the acronym HIDDEN: hormones, immune system, diet, detoxification, energy production, and the nervous system. We look at all of these things with functional testing. And the bottom line is, I don't care how old you are, and I don't care what your disease or diagnosis is. It doesn't matter. If you do these 3 things consistently, you can heal and repair. This is what your body needs to maximize what you need in your unique body. We can test for, are you getting the right vitamins and minerals and antioxidants into the blood cells? Are you, drinking enough water? Is it clean filtered water? Maximize good relationships. Maximize good hormones. And the knowledge and belief in the therapy you're choosing is safe and effective. A lot of what we're doing has really tremendous side effects that are not safe and effective. Minimize toxicity and inflammation, and this is toxic food, toxic thoughts, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs. We feel like we're stuck, and negative expectations, the nocebo effect. I do write about that in my book. It's has a huge effect on people's health outcomes. And then prioritizing self-care, and this is the hardest thing for most of us to do. We feel like self-care is selfish.
Right.
So I always say we can guess or we can test. And these are some of the testing that I did for my own healing in cardiovascular disease. To uncover, I had a lot of nutrient deficiencies. I had food sensitivities. My organic acid test showed a lot of that my metabolism wasn't working correctly. I had gut issues. I had H. pylori. I had to heal the gut. So when we do the testing, then we can create a personalized plan. Based on this testing, this is what we need to do. And hormones is key. Many people ask me, I do a 2-hour talk on this, so I'm going to tell you in 2 minutes. Basically, our stress hormones, whether it's internal stress, such as food sensitivities we're not even aware of, or external stress. Stress affects our sex hormones, which affects our libido, our fertility, our ability to get pregnant. This is an epidemic. I've helped a lot of women get pregnant. It affects our sleep, which affects our metabolic hormones. So we could be eating the cleanest diet, and I've had clients on a keto diet who are insulin resistant, who have been developing their own prediabetes because of the lack of nutrients they need, the chromium, and the increased stress in their lives. So stress hormones affect sex hormones, which affect metabolic hormones. And we get this chronic inflammation. So we need to look at what are your unique internal and external stressors so that we can put the body in an environment for healing.
Excellent.
And everybody asks me about cholesterol in heart disease, and when I worked in cardiac care, as a cardiac care nurse, I used to teach people to eat a low-fat diet and margarine, get rid of the butter. I did that early on. I've had issues since I was in my 30s of high blood pressure high cholesterol. And my gynecologist said, Lisa, you're going to drop dead before you're 40 if you don't do something about this. And I was on the statins, which created muscle cramps and brain fog. The statins were horrible for me. Mm. And the reason being is we need healthy fat, and we need B5, pantothenic, our B vitamins, which are made in the gut. We need a healthy gut to make cholesterol. And the cholesterol is so essential that the liver will make it even if you don't get it in your diet, because cholesterol is the Band-Aid. It's the fireman if you've got inflammation in the arteries to go put out the artery. And that's, it's the cholesterol that can form the plaques in the arteries that people are so concerned about with cardiovascular disease. Cholesterol in itself is not bad. If it's oxidized, if it's forming plaque, that's the issue. But by just lowering cholesterol without looking at what's causing the fire is like killing the fireman. And just as many people have cardiovascular accidents with low cholesterol as they have with high cholesterol. So this is a major myth around cardiovascular disease that even a lot of conventional cardiologists are not in tune to. So cholesterol makes our stress hormones, our cortisone, our adrenaline, as well as all of our sex hormones. And so the paleocardiologist wrote a book called, and the first chapter is Cholesterol is King. And so we need to look at the hormones, what's causing, this is not exactly what happens, it's just a picture, our hormones are more like a soup, but we need to look at if we've got, if we're just making cortisol at the expense of DHEA, this is keeping us in a catabolic state. We are breaking down tissue and not enough DHEA to build up tissue. So this is one of the things we look at.
Got it.
And this is a picture from my book, which is we're either in fight or flight, or we're in rest and repair, rest and digest, or mate and ovulate. So this is a nervous system, and it's like a light switch. We can have ways to turn it on and off, but most of us just live in the sympathetic state where we might be eating, maybe we've got a sensitivity to gluten and we're having toast for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, and pasta for dinner, and we're keeping this internal flame going all day long. Our pupils dilate, so we're really sensitive to the sunlight and we have to wear dark glasses, which is not normal. We're more susceptible to macular degeneration and early aging of the eyes. We stop secreting saliva, so we can't digest the amylase, the enzymes to digest our carbohydrates. Our bronchioles dilate, so we get asthma, we get more susceptible to the flus and colds. Our heartbeat speeds up, we get hypertension. We secrete adrenaline, which keeps us in this roller coaster. We stop secreting stomach acid, and we need strong stomach acid to break down our proteins, to digest our food, to assimilate the, to keep our balance in our gut. And in fact, I had H. pylori, which is very common as we age, a hidden bug in my gut that can be the precursor to ulcers and stomach cancer. So doing a test to identify that was really key for me. It can cause constipation, irritable bowel, urinary tract infections, varicose veins. If you have any of these symptoms, it's a reason to look at what's the root cause.
Right.
And then people ask me, how do you address the immune system? Because the immune system is so key, right, for healing?
Absolutely.
And so this is kind of a picture I use and another talk I do, which is about a 2-hour talk. I'll give you a 2-minute synopsis. All health begins in the gut. If we are used to eating on the run, stressful diet, we're taking birth control pills, aspirin, Motrin, antibiotics, we're eating food that we're sensitive to, we're drinking too much caffeine and alcohol, all these things can damage the gut lining. And then the undigested food, we don't have enough stomach acid, the bacteria, the viruses can get into the bloodstream, and this creates an inflammation. So most of the symptoms of things that start in the gut are not gas or bloating or digestion, or if you've got these symptoms, they're certainly, it's easy to point to the gut, but many, this is the root cause of all autoimmune disease. And, you know, when I graduated from nursing school, there were 5 autoimmune diseases: lupus, MS, rheumatoid arthritis, right? Now there's over 100.
Wow.
So what's happened in this time? As our genes haven't changed, our diet, our lifestyle, our stress have changed. We're putting chemicals on our food. So we know now. So it affects the vagus nerve. It can cross the blood-brain barrier. We can be more prone to dementia, early dementia, cognitive decline, even autism. Part of the treatment for autism is to heal the gut. And it's pretty amazing what functional medicine is doing to reverse some of these diseases that we thought were really untreatable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how are we on time?
We're good. We got probably another like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, great. So a lot of people ask me, what's the right diet?
The $1 million question.
So here's a little joke, a 1 minute thing that I think is funny.
The Times article pointed out that the grave is littered with health food pioneers who didn't even live to the average lifespan. Yul Gibbons swore he'd live forever thanks to a diet of wild plants, and now he is a diet for wild plants, dead at 64. Adele Davis was so ahead of her time in saying we should avoid starchy foods like white bread. Ironically, is toast, dead at 70. Nathan Pritikin of the Pritikin diet, dead at 69. Clive McKay thought the path to living past 100 was severe caloric restriction, dead at 69. Last words, I'm fucking starving.
Oh my.
Michelle Montagnac sold 17 million copies of Eat Yourself Slim and died at 66, this before finishing his next book, Drink Yourself Erect. Jim Fixx wrote the complete book of running, which his heart stopped doing at 52, dead while running. Meanwhile, David Crosby is fine.
There it is.
We have to laugh. There's no one diet for everyone. And it is sad. We could, as I said in my case, be doing a lot of the right things and have this hidden, right, inflammation. And I see a lot of, I do see a lot of high-powered clients who want to be all they can be, and they are burning the candle at both ends. They're loving it. They run marathons because it increases endorphins. But we can't stay in fight or flight all the time. We have to have a rest and repair. And so most of my clients need to actually eat more and more healthy fat and exercise less, which is just the opposite of what is standard information that's given to us. And we're all unique. There are some common rules. Eat real food, organic, grass-fed if possible. If you're eating animal protein, eliminate empty calories, the artificial chemicals and preservatives. Just eat real food. And then diversity is the key. We don't eat the same food every day. That's when we can really develop food sensitivities, even to healthy food that we're eating. I addressed a little bit about why the myth about cholesterol. Fat does not make you fat. Sugar makes you fat. In fact, sugar is the root cause of that inflammation in the arteries. Too much sugar and alcohol, it's like shards of glass going through the arteries, and which tells the liver to secrete the cholesterol to go patch it up. So eliminating the inflammatory foods is key. We don't need dairy to get our calcium. Many people, I think 75% of the world population does not drink milk. And we get more calcium calcium is better absorbed from green leafy vegetables than from the dairy in milk for many, and it's a high allergen food for a lot of folks. So there's just a few common myths that we might want to rethink. It's, my clients have really three things. Either they don't know what they don't know, or they think they know what's right and they're operating under one of these medical myths, or we know what's right, but we just need some help and support to get there.
Absolutely. Yes. Intermittent fasting. Excellent.
So is this the newest, greatest fad? I had an organic vendor come to me and say, Lisa, will you help me put together a program for intermittent fasting? And I had to think about it because I'm not one to advertise the be all and all one thing. But then I started looking at the books on my desk and reading and doing my research that I'd already read. These are just what's in my home office. And every one of these guys mention intermittent fasting as key, whether it's cardiovascular disease, whether it's to clean up your dirty genes. We can change the expression of our genes. We're not bound by them. David Perlmutter, a very famous neurosurgeon who is also certified nutritional specialist. And yes, we can end Alzheimer's and reverse cognitive decline. Who knew? And reading his book, it's all about functional medicine. It's all about a lot of the things from my practice. And intermittent fasting is a great, easy way to flip the switch. We are overfed but undernourished. Whether you're overweight or you're underweight, they're both signs of malnutrition. And so we have a nutrient poor diet. It's our farming practices and the fast, convenient food that sits on a shelf for a long time is not giving us the nutrients we need. It's part of our evolution. We have fasted for a millennium. It's been part of the religious practices. It's now proven by science to create autophagy, which is the process of cellular cleanup. This is when the body gets rid of those cancer cells. So we all have cancer cells in the body. It's just like there's weeds in the garden, and you have a healthy soil and you have healthy plants, they're going to crowd out the weeds. And the weeding the garden is what autophagy is, to get rid of the cancer cells. We can help burn fat for fuel instead of sugar, which keeps us on this emotional metabolic roller coaster. And for those of us who have had hypoglycemic episodes or insulin resistance, prediabetes, it improves that blood glucose level, and it just lowers inflammation in the body, which is key. Another chart on we can see from the 1950s to now this huge increase of diabetes. Again, what's happened in my lifetime? The genes haven't changed. It's been our diet and our lifestyle, and how frequent eating all the time, late night snacking really leads to leptin and insulin resistance. It increases body fat. It interrupts our hormones that tell us we're full. And we are always using glucose for energy, which is like gasoline on a fire. It's fast, but it doesn't last very long, versus burning wood fuel or fat, which is long-term sustainable energy. So fasting helps you burn the fat. It cuts our cravings. Who doesn't have sugar cravings? We're all addicted to sugar.
Someone who's lucky, I guess.
Yeah. But, we have sugar in our baby formulas. We have sugar. I mean, we're just, and the sugar industry would not really like this presentation very much.
Right.
So that it can be controversial. They're basically the same thing, the benefits of autophagy. And there's a lot of scientific data on this. And so I've created with a partner a Kickstart to Wellness program, which is 2 webinars. It's education, it's guidebooks, it's recipes. But we also have designed 7 days of carefully researched supplemental meal and beverage program, which are soups and juices and a little MCT shot with turmeric to lower inflammation, and camu camu, which is very high in vitamin C. And a whoop, I didn't change the date on here. We'll be launching this again in March. And for our audience, we're offering this program. The three things. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna tell people that if you're leading into that, so we do have some buttons below the video that link over to what you're talking about right now. So carry on. I just wanted to let them know.
Oh, great, thanks. So 3 things that I think are missing is nutrition, functional medicine, and then health coaching. You know, we all have the best intention. Who hasn't set New Year's resolutions only to find with the best intentions that we get roadblocks? And having a support group like your programs to keep people inspired, educated, motivated, an accountability buddy, a coach to help people stay on track is really the way to get to our goals. It's another little picture from my book. And fact is not perfection. You know, I always say good, better, best. We're all gonna fall off the bandwagon, especially with the holidays coming up. It's getting a healthy community, like-minded community, and make it easier to make transformational change. So surrounding yourself with other like-minded community that are also interested in optimal health, in spirituality, in changing the current trajectory of this very divisive world that we've gone into, you know, having compassion, courage. And you can see my red dress with my Superwoman cape.
Yes.
that I'm wearing for heart health, for Valentine's Day and heart health. But we all, and all of my clients are supermen and superwomen, but we're really not meant to be on this earth by ourselves. And if we could have done it on our own, we would have done it already, because we're all smart. We're all in intelligence. And sometimes we all need a little support, that our own transformation really doesn't happen in isolation. And often we beat ourselves up for what's wrong with me. Why can't I make these changes? Instead of saying, well, what's right with me? Right. What's my loving, self-healing, self-repairing body telling me with my high blood pressure? What needs to change in my life that I've been resistant to looking at? And how do we find your personal kryptonite so that you can really access your personal powers, your superhuman powers? So I do teach yoga, meditation. Really getting in tune with the body is key, to not ignore our symptoms, but to really understand that the entrance to the door of the sanctuary is inside of you, that you are your own best doctor. And if you go to the doctor with symptoms and you don't get the right answers, and your doctor isn't the healthiest person in the room, you might want to look somewhere else. Right. And find another. And thanks to you and your summits, you're interviewing some fabulous people here. I'm really excited to listen.
Absolutely. Yes. Amazing people with all sorts of different angles and stories, and including you. And we thank you for doing this.
Thank you. And then I just wanted to say nothing's impossible. We break it up. Impossible means I'm possible. This is a mentor of mine. I've taken classes with her. She is the world's oldest yoga teacher. And now she's 101. I need to update the slide.
Wow.
She's, got all her body weight up on her hands. This is can be a challenging posture, but she's on no medications, and she's quite wealthy. She's also the world's oldest ballroom.
Oh my goodness.
Dancer. Isn't she beautiful?
That's awesome.
And then I decided to do a special offer with you.
Yes, please let us know. And again, yeah, there's buttons below that you can click on for Lisa's offers and a free gift. So yes, tell us about those.
So I, in my practice, I ask for a minimum of a 3-month commitment because time to do testing and time to do with coaching together, it's a package. But people are always asking me, can I just come see you? I just want a consultation. So I am offering for the listeners something out of the ordinary, which is a one-time custom evaluation. If you want me to review your medical records, to look at your health history, to look at your symptom questionnaire, to look at any testing that you've had, and to write up a recommendation and talk with you about co-creating a plan for your unique needs based on this. And if you are 100% committed and you are a self-starter, then I'll offer a one-time evaluation, which takes me several hours, and in a 90-minute one-on-one chance to look at you. If you want to do a program with me, that can go right into the package. Or I do this for colleagues and friends occasionally, where we give them enough that they can go off and make the recommended changes.
Excellent. Thank you. I love it.
I am opening up my practice for this short time, this short window for that. And then if you want to do a group intermittent fasting kickstart, we talked a little bit about that. That's fabulous. You can find my book on Amazon. And I've got a handout, which I didn't put on here, which is a functional guide to healthy living, which you can just go to the website. You've got a link to my website for that. And download that for free.
Awesome. Thank you. And again, there's buttons and links and all sorts of things below that you can click on to go get access to Lisa and all of her amazing work. Are there any last insights? Anything else you want to leave people with before we hop off?
No, I just really thank you for doing this. Thank you for those who are attending, and please share these videos. It's I think we're all passionate about inspiring others, that it doesn't have to be this way. If you're struggling with fear of aging or fear of early disease, that there's no reason we can't live well into our hundreds without medications, without suffering. And not that medications are needed at some time, right, but that we there's nothing in our way but ourselves sometimes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for doing this, Lisa. Thank you for all your amazing work and expertise. And we appreciate you doing this with us today.
Thank you.
And everyone, thank you so much for showing up for yourself and for tuning in. And we will see you again real soon. Take care, everybody.